you. Um, Somebody sent me the book of Amos, and I did see what was in there for Gaza, and I'll show that to everybody. But uh, I looked up how many times Gaza is in there, and it came up 19 times. But here's the thing, you got to know what Gaza was called. It was not consistently called Gaza, it had other names, just like we have other names when you look in the book. So let me send the link to everyone in the chat so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Here we go. All right, there's the link. Go to this link that I just put in the chat. And if you can't open it, then just copy and paste it into your URL, where you always have your website addresses. You want to copy and paste it there, and then you can go to that site and it will show you the scriptures where Gaza is not always called Gaza. It does have other names, ladies and gentlemen, but it's still referring to what we know today as Gaza. Yes, that's exactly what's in Amos C. Johnston, that it would be destroyed because the people of Gaza sold slaves to Edom. And and really, if you don't know the book of Amos, the book of Amos is loaded in judgment. So that is a good one to look at if you want to see, many of the judgments that are happening. And you will definitely see Gaza right there by name, Gaza. But just go to that website and it will have the actual scriptures, and it will tell you, it is Gaza, but known in that scripture by another name. So I actually came across that when I was also looking up Gaza, and it makes common sense. It's not going to be, you got to think it was a whole different era and time when the book was written. So, of course, our people that lived in those times did not just know that area as Gaza. They may have known it by many different things, but it's definitely in there. There's definitely references to it. Yes, the book of Amos. Yes, it's there, but it's in other places in the Bible too. That's why I'm showing you this. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. So if you clicked on that link or you copy and paste the link, this is where you would end up. So it's the King James Bible Dictionary, and you see the map of Gaza. So if you would just scroll down, you'll see scriptures of other references to Gaza. It was called Azza, was a Hebrew name for Gaza, and it shows you exactly which scriptures you can find that in. City on the Mediterranean shore. You see it in Jeremiah. It's referenced in Genesis, Joshua. So it goes through all of the scriptures where you can find out where the scriptures are for Gaza. Okay. Because I think what's happening, why people can't find it, because I've watched several other videos where people spoke about Gaza, but they're just looking for it under Gaza and not under its many different names. I mean, look, when you read about us, our forefathers in the Bible, we're known by many different names, even in the Bible. So it wouldn't be any different for these cities where Gentiles were. And in some cases, we lived in those cities. Our forefathers lived in many of these cities too. Well, see, Johnston, it says in the last days that the Gentiles will destroy each other. And we've been seeing that for a while. If you look back on Ukraine, Russia, I think that kicked it off in a big way. But these folks really didn't get along but so much. They've always been warring and not getting along with each other. You know, the only time they know how to put on a united front is over racism. When it's racism, yeah, they know how to put on a good united front. But if you really start researching their history, they have always warred with each other. They're always fighting each other, the Irish and the English, and Scotland and the English. You know, you go all through, and Russia then had multiple wars with the countries all around them. So they've always had fights. But they try to look at us today and make us believe, oh, you remember when Russia and Ukraine first kicked off, even Prince William came out in the media talking about, we don't do this. Yes, you do. And England is probably one of the most notorious countries to fight and kill the people all around them in other nations. They did it more than anything. Remember, they once ruled the world. What he think they ruled the world by kissing people on the head? No, y'all conquered people. You killed people in many nations across the earth. But now y'all trying to look like saints. Man, that ship done sailed a long time. These Gentiles couldn't look like a saint to save their mama's life. But I read through some of these scriptures, and I wanted to give this to you all so you have a chance to look through these scriptures as well. And now you must find out what the other names are used for Gaza so that you can find this. Now, y'all remember there are a lot of, they do have a population of Black men and women in Gaza, and many of them are the offspring of the Philistines. Y'all remember the Philistines were our enemies in the Bible, and those Philistines, they were Black. In fact, there was a video when I first came into the truth that I found on YouTube. I wish I could remember the name of that video. And it was a Black man. He was very dark skinned. And he said, I'm a biblical Philistine. And he lived in Palestine. He lived there. So, that's why, when I saw where it says Gaza, and then it has Azza, and then city of the Philistines, because back in those days, it was a huge population of Philistine that lived on the land that we know today as Palestine. And I remember him saying, I'm an offspring of the Philistines. And I remember he was just a very dark skinned man. Hmm. And they also was part of Gaza. Yeah, they do. Top tens, they do treat them badly, but that should not be surprising because when these people cross the ocean and come to America, they treat us badly. They don't treat us well. They treat us badly. I had someone write me and ask me, was I going to talk more about the Hebrew brothers that had the encounter with the Palestinians out there in Chicago. I really wasn't going to say too much more other than what I showed you in that small video clip that I showed you on live stream, because without really talking to those brothers, maybe one day they'll come online and do a video or they'll talk about it, the brothers that were actually there. Because, I don't want to speculate about how that encounter started. We don't know if those Hebrew brothers, they could have been there first, and then the Palestinians showed up, or the Palestinians could have been there and the Hebrew brothers showed up. It didn't have that kind of context in the video. So it's really hard for me to say anything about it. As far as who was there first and why they were there, we know there were big protests and still are big protests going on in Chicago and many locations. I was looking at a story just a day ago and they were talking about people were injured, a student was attacked, and it's a lot of um feelings. It's a lot of people feeling a certain way about what's going on over in Gaza. It's a lot of people feeling, and it's to the point where fights are breaking out over it. And I was reading where these folks, they want students thrown out of college that are protesting, for the Palestinians. And it's a lot going on out here. It's a lot. And, no matter, you're right, dark skinned brother. And I'm glad you said that. They had no business throwing stuff at those brothers, right? Whether they were there first or second. No, they didn't have, if you're going to do your little protest, do your little protest, you know. But in my opinion, dark skinned brother, that's another attempt to drag us in the mix. That's all that video kind of seemed like to me. It was just another opportunity to drag us in. And so far, we have not done that. Right. They spat on a brother, Denise. You're right about that. And one of the brothers was sent to the hospital. That's why there was an ambulance there. One of those brothers had to go to the hospital with injuries. So I don't know. I hope one day, instead of me getting on a video and speculating about that, I hope one day at least one brother from the camp will come on and talk about it so we can have more context about what happened that day, because we really don't know. There are a lot of questions that many people have that is just not answered watching the video. We just see the actual conflict of things being thrown back and forth, and we see the firecrackers. But other than that, we don't have any real context beyond that. So, I mean, if y'all know who that camp is in Illinois, or someone, ask them if they can do a video, or hell, I'll interview them if they want to come on here. If somebody from that camp want to come on my channel, I'll do an interview with them and they can tell us what happened. I would rather do that than speculate. Oh, well, the brothers were there first, or they came first. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Right. If we can get one of those brothers and they want to talk to us, I'll be more than willing to interview them. Or if they want to do a video and send it to me, I'll be more than happy to, to show it to everybody. It would be nice to hear directly from them. And I am concerned about that one brother that had to go to the hospital. I hope he's okay. I hope he's doing well. Whether I agree with what those brothers do and say on the street, I still would never want to see them get hurt. Them getting hurt out there, that's a whole different issue. So, so that's why I did not do anything further on that. So, anybody that don't have your Bible, let me pull up what a lot of our people are talking about. Amos. Let me share my screen. Hold on one second. 'Cause I realize some of y'all may not you may be at your job or you may be out and about and you don't have the Bible with you. So I'll just put it on the screen. All right. I'm gonna see if I can make the text bigger here. Here we go. That's big. That's better. So, what everybody are talking about, really, it's 1 through 7, but what most people are focusing on is first, hold on. It's Amos chapter 1, verses 6 and 7. All right. So, thus saith uh, Yahweh, for these transgressions of Gaza, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them to Edom. And if you remember just history, it was the Arabs that got Edom into the slave trade. But they splintered off and did their own thing. The way they put us through the captivity, our forefathers, was not the way it was supposed to be done. And then when you go to verse 7, but I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof. But you really should read the whole thing. One thing I can honestly say, the book of Amos, I really like the book of Amos. And if you have not seen the kind of judgments that are in this particular book, you really should go back and look at it. You really should go back and look at the book of Amos. Right. You should start with verse 1 and go all the way down to 6 and 7, in my opinion. Because look at what it says about Damascus, and they've been warring in Syria now for years. For years they've been warring in Syria. Yes, the Turks are the Europeans. Yes, that is very true. They come out of the Turks, the people from Turkey, they also come out of the Caucasus Mountains, y'all. So they are essentially the same people. They are part of Europe. Yes, they are. If you go and research Turkey, you will see that the Turks also come out of the Caucasus Mountains. Hmm. Yeah, they have. Mhm. You thought the Turks were Western Asian. No, they're actually closer to the Europeans. They're actually closer to the Europeans. And if you go and look at Turkish history, you will see that they originated out of those Caucasus Mountains too. Yeah, many of the Turkish people know where they came from. They'll tell you that their families or their forefathers came out of those Caucasus Mountains. They'll tell you themselves. They'll tell you themselves. Yes, they will. They are the Vikings, Hebrew of Hebrews. That's right. Mhm. See, many of you know the history of those folks over there too. Mhm. You know, but I heard Netanyahu say something the other day, because they're trying to do a ceasefire to get aid, and the US got aid over there. right at the border of Gaza. They're trying to get in there to give those people aid. And they have been calling on Israel to do a ceasefire so they can get things into the people, and they won't do it. And Netanyahu called those folks Amalek. And I thought about that, and I'm like, and then he spoke of the Bible, and I'm saying to myself, aren't you Jewish? Why are you talking about the Bible? Shouldn't you be talking about the Torah? I thought they weren't into the Bible, they were into the Torah. I just found that awfully strange, but then again, it wasn't that strange, because I think when he said that, he was trying to appeal to Christianity, because a big segment of the American population is into Christianity. Right, Cookie, that's why Cookie 2017, that's why I thought it was strange that he said that. He said they are Amalek, and I'm like, they're not the only ones that's Amalek. Right, he didn't bring that up. He talked about the Bible, and I thought they did not touch a Bible. So you can see who they're trying to appeal to. Those are not the only people that fall under Amalek. It goes a lot more beyond that. Well, they've been doing that since the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war. They claim that was part of Bible prophecy. These same people that are claiming the same thing about Israel and Hamas were saying the same thing about Ukraine and Russia, that was biblical prophecy. Those are Gentiles that are fighting against each other, just like it's prophesied that they would in these final days. Yes, actually, I'm going to do a video on that Notorious Hebrew, where they said young Black Americans are the biggest threat to Israel. Yeah, I got a clip of that, of the person saying that, and I'm going to get to that real soon. I'm going to get around to doing a video on that. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, really, all of those Arab groups originate from the Caucasus Mountains. And they'll even show you every now and then, you'll even see the caves that they lived in that region. There's a bunch of caves, just like in the Caucasus Mountains. There's a bunch of caves in those regions that's where their forefathers lived in for a long time before they ventured out of those caves. Yeah, don't you find it strange that these folks prefer to vacation in Africa and not they won't go to the Caucasus Mountains and vacation there? They won't vacation there. Blessing to you. Thank you so much for the super sticker. They won't take vacations in those places they originated from. They won't go there. So that's all I wanted to show y'all. I just wanted to take the time and kind of direct you over to some more scriptures about Gaza, but it just may fall under a different name in the Bible. But nevertheless, it is the same location, and you can read through each one. I've been slowly reading through each one of those scriptures myself, so it's a learning experience for me. And believe me, I welcome the learning, because it really gives me a better understanding of even how the inhabitants of those places were, even before modern times. And Palestine also had a huge slave port, at one point in time. It was a lot of slave trading that went on in that region. I think it stopped like around 1871 or it's somewhere around there. It was like the late 1800s when the slave trading stopped around there. But a lot of the slaves that went into the Arab world came out of that port, and they were doing a lot of slave trading because they're right there by the water. So they did a lot of slave trading. And now I didn't stumble across that until I started working on my family tree. I had no idea that that location was responsible for a lot of slave trading. I had no idea, y'all, until if I didn't do my family tree, I probably still would not have known to this very day. Mhm. Well, yeah, I mean, I think a piece of our history is around the entire world, and a lot of people are claiming lineage that's absolutely not theirs. I mean, they're trying to claim that we're doing that, but no, a lot of these people everywhere are doing this. A lot of them. So, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming and spending this time with me today. And yeah, just take your time and read through, and just get yourself a little more enlightened, if nothing else. I'm going to print this out. And, because there is somebody I would like to give it to. So, because they were asking about Gaza and where does it fit in the Bible and everything. So I'm going to print this out for them for, they're old school and not real heavily on the internet at all, but they will read it if I give it to them. So please enjoy the rest of your day. Actually, I am not Hispanic. 73 EDA, Philly, New York. I am what you classify as African American. Okay. The man that I'm with is a Black Latino. That's where the name came from. I was born Lisa Marie Thomas. My family name is Thomas, Thomas. So I am a full sister. I am a I am a full sister. And trust me, despite many of these Latinos running around here trying to call themselves white, my Afro Latino got some naughty behind woolly hair. he got naughty behind woolly hair. His hair, if I sat him next to any of you, you would not even be able to tell the difference. His hair texture is as woolly as can be. And when he grows it out, he can pick out a full afro. It just looked like a full kinky afro. So, no, I am not Hispanic. I am not Latino. I'm a sister. So, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you on the next video. Shalom, family.